Cardfight Vanguard has gone into its third transitional format, forever changing the way we know Standard. 24 clan dynamic gone. 3,000 years into the future, 5 nations remain. With this new format, quality of matches have changed to a more equal and subtle power level for the 5 nations. But let me be the judge of that. In this series, each week I will be facing off against multiple players in my state and online to see if this is the bright future Vanguard needed or just another format falling victim to power creep. This is Way of the Cardfighter. What's up, Cardfighters? This is Naruto Samurai, and welcome to the Dojo, and welcome to episode 2 of Way of the Cardfighter. So, you guys know in the beginning of the video where it says each week, we're like almost a month off. We're more than a month. Apologies. So, the reason for the delay of this video was because I was switching from Adobe Premiere to Final Cut Pro, and that actually took some time to figure out and is set me way back, but it taught me some new skills to make more videos, and let's see where it goes from here. Well, going into the video now, today we have Dragonic Overlord versus Violence Bruce. The one piloting the Dragonic Overlord deck is going to be Noah Wright from the Golden Phoenix Game finalist, who topped actually with Dragonic Overlord. Perfect timing, right? Well, he's going to be going in with Brush of Legends, Dragonic Overlord, Ep.2. It's kind of going to be exciting because I've seen a little bit of the deck, but not much of it to get a good hand of it. And I decided that, just bring in a good deck and see where it goes. So we actually took in Violence Bruce, another topping deck. No, guys, I'm not trying to cheat here. I'm not trying to get some free wins. I just want to see where this game actually goes. So let's get straight into the deck profile of Violence Bruce. Starting off the deck profile, we do have our 4 right line targets. Nothing much changed. Pretty much solid right line you want to keep for Bruce. We do run the full Persona Right engine, so we don't want to lose any chances of us not getting Bruce in hand when we finally get to that 4th turn where we're in Final Rush. Following that, we do run 3 Marjorie. Marjorie's going to be able to draw us a card and generate that soul that we're missing if needed for Bruce. And to follow in things that we do want in our hand are cards, but we also want more power, so we got Hellblast Full Dive coming in. Hellblast Full Dive is really great for Final Rush, being able to generate that extra plus 10k attack and make things a lot more powerful, and maybe actually make that turn your Final Rush turn. Next, we got our 4 Leonards coming in, getting us that additional attack column if any of the attacks hit to Soul Charge 1 and call a card. Really good with Marjorie because Marjorie already sends something to Soul, but we do need to find a way to get Marjorie in Soul, which will bring us to later in our Grade 1 lineup. Next, we got 3 Edens, able to also retire cards for counterblast if an attack hits. Really good pressure early game to see if your opponent wants to guard early in order to protect some of their rear guard attacks. Following that, we do have our 4 PGs. Nothing really much changing here. PGs are important and must stay in deck at all times. Next, we got 3 of the Dover. Good card with Marjorie at the end of the battle to send to Soul and give plus 10 to Leonard, or just have overall on the field depending on the back row it's in. Other than that, it's really great to send to Soul to make columns empty and be able to use for future skills. After that, we do have 2 of our Proto Dragons, which Proto we were trying to mention before with Leonard can boost Leonard and send Marjorie to Soul to empty up that column so that Leonard can call an additional field. Really great choice. Next, we got 2 of our Madonna Mabels, giving us triple drive on our Vanguard swing, and could also end up being in Soul with Leonard's skill, and after Leonard attacks, call her back out to the field so that she can boost our Vanguard. Being able to counterblast 1 and getting triple drive is really strong, guys. Next, we got 3 of our one and only Gungan Rams. Gungan Ram is a card that people have taken out of the deck currently, but I still see great use for it. 1 plays Soul Charge 1, and you can Soul Blast you to draw an additional card. There's times when I do wish I had an additional card in hand, and this is where Gungan Ram comes in handy. Also, great matchup is with Prison, being able to get a body onto the field for a Soul Blast and then Soul Charge 1 right after, because Prison's a Soul Blast to call out, and then you can Soul Charge 1 to call it once it's called to the field, so you plus 0. Onto our trigger lineup, we do have 4 of our front triggers. These front triggers, I gotta say, are the next best thing. They're pretty much that 10k guard I wish I had, but they are 20k shields. So as I do wish we did have 10k guards. Having these 20k shields makes guarding attacks a lot more easier. Following that, we have our 4 heals, pattern thing in most decks. Don't want to lose those heals early game. And next we got 4 critical, in total 7. And finally ending with our over trigger. Some people are deciding to run the Cray Elemental over trigger, but I still find great use in this when you pull it early, and it just makes games so much easier when you don't have that final rush. Well, that's pretty much going to go it for the deck profile. Let's see how Noah's holding up back at the shop.
Alright, so this is my Overlord deck profile from Golden Phoenix Games from set 2 release. So here's the right order, the right line, sorry. So starter, Lizard Runner, Undu, and then, you know, grade 1 for the right line, we got Embodiment Armored Bar. Grade 2, we got Dragon Knight Nahalem, and grade 3, of course, Overlord. So for main deck, we're playing 3 Overlords. Really, basically, you only really need this as a grade 3, because once you hit them on the right line, you're kind of just going to get, like, you get them, you got their persona right, and 10k, and when he swings at a rear, or when he swings at a rear, he can't guard, so it's an instant hit, and then you get his effect where when he hits, counterblast 1, pitch 1, and then stand him back up. So you're basically getting 2 drive checks, essentially, and then if they let his attack hit Vanguard, when you don't play rears, then you still lose the effect, so it's pretty good. Grade 2s, we're playing 3 Dragon Knight Nahalem, because, you know, 4th one is in the right line. So right line skill, because I didn't go over it, when a card called Dragonic Overlord is placed on top of him, you can call him out from soul to rear. So that's a free rear guard from being ridden on, and then his rear guard skill is Act. So Act, I can soul blast 1, and I can choose a card that's, if it has Overlord in the name, and both him and Overlord, so both him and Overlord are going to gain 5k. So makes Overlord 18k, so makes it so he can hit, and he makes him a 15k, so he can hit over 13k Vanguards. Alright, next raid 2, we're playing 4 Berserk Dragon. So Berserk Dragon is basically one of our good attackers, and he also basically helps with board control. So when this unit attacks, if I have Overlord as my Vanguard, he's going to get 5k power, and then I have the option of counterblasting 1, choosing a grade 2 or less rear guard, and then I can pop it. So really good for getting rid of those grade 1 back rows, unless you go against Bastion, in which case you can't do anything, but hey, good for targeting like pesky intercept rear guards or getting rid of back row that are key. And then finally, we have 4 of Stealth Rogue from Blade of Sukuni. So he's pretty good because if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, he gets 5k. So he's a 15k attacker, and he was really good because he's really good for early game rush. So you can just pop him down, swing for 15 to their like 8k or 10k, and that's like a lot of guard you have to get rid of. All right, great ones. 4 PG, self-explanatory, really good, and 1k guard, and 1 cost pitch, so you know don't have to pitch if I'm at 2 or less. Self-explanatory. Next, we play 3 Dragon Monk Dojo. So this card's really good because when my Vanguard attack hits, so like say Overlord swings at a rear, I can pop him and countercharge, because it might not seem like it, but we do counterblast quite a bit in this deck, and it's a really good card to help with countercharge. Next, we play 3 Bar. So Bar, for his right line skill, when When Dragon Knight in the home is placed on top of him, I can counterblast 1 and basically have a Conrail effect, so I can add any grade 1 to my hand. So I could say add bar, or I could add a PG, or Dojo, or anything I need. And then his rearguard skill, when my Vanguard's attack hits, he's going to get 5k. So he's going to get 5k until the end of the turn. So this is a 13k booster. This is a really good card and makes my other rearguard column, so like, because all my grade 2s are going to be 15ks at the time, so this is 28 column. Next, we're playing 3 Blaze Fist Monk N10. So this card, when an attack hits, I can Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit. And this attack has to be the turn where he boosted. I can Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit, and I can choose a unit and give it 10k. So really good if I give him the Overlord. So swing at the rear, boost it, then Soul Blast 1, give 10k to either Overlord, or I can give it to give it to a rear guard. And then finally for grade 1s, we play 2 Stealth Dragon Tensha instead. Pretty much he's only here to help get Persona Ride, since we only play 3 in the deck. And remember, I can have him boosting Vanguard, hit, swing at the rear, it'll hit, counterblast 1, and go get a grade 3. Alright, triggers, 1 over trigger. And we're playing the Dragon Empire one because it's just really good. It synergizes real well. Playing 4 of Blaze Maiden Parama, new front trigger because, you know, 20k shield, 20k shield. 7 crit because crit are good, and 4 heal. So yeah, that is my Overlord deck. So let's get into the match, and I can show you how the deck plays.
It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never ever wanna calm down. Oh, no, yeah.
Getting right into the match, Noah goes first, rides bar, and passes, where I respond by discarding a crit to ride Steve, moving my starter behind and soul charging 1, then calling Gun Gun for an early game push and another soul charge. Gun Gun Ram attacks first, which he responds with a critical trigger, where I follow with my Vanguard attack for 1 to pass, dry checking Proto Bolt. Noah begins his turn discarding Gojo to ride Nahalem, with skill of Conro to bounce a PG to his hand. He then calls Oshikumi, Berserk Dragon, and Bar to rearguard and moves to battle phase. He starts by attacking Nahalem to my rearguards in order to boost Berserk and Bar's column. I take it and retire Gun Gun Ram. Oshikumi attacks next, and being the weaker of the 2, I guard. Then Berserk attacks and I damage Bruce. Starting my turn, I discard Eden to ride Richard, sending Matt to Soul to draw and calling Eden into play. I had to plan on Dragonic Overlord, so I chose to swing at Berserk with a Vanguard and try to limit his field if I can to buy time for me to ride Bruce and get a final rush turn. Eden continues to Oshikumi, which he guards with a front. Noah starts his turn discarding a heal to ride Overlord and calls Nahalem from Soul to rearguard. In battle phase, he swings his Overlord to Vanguard, where I choose to take it as it will not be able to restand. And that's where I was wrong, as he drove checked Oshikumi and the over trigger, restanding his Vanguard and giving million to Oshikumi, where I damage yet another Bruce. He swings again with Overlord, getting a crit, dealing me 2 more damage, Berserks where I guard and then take the Oshikumi, going to 5. I start my turn discarding Mabel to ride Bruce and call another Eden. Currently my hand is filled with 5Ks, so Overlord having Counterblast is actually not an option. So I swing to Nahalem, which he guards for 2 to pass, where I check no triggers. Eden swings to Oshikumi, which he intercepts Nahalem, and then guards again for my last Eden. Noah draws for turn, Persona riding Overlord, then activating skill of Nahalem to give Overlord and himself plus 5k, then swings with Overlord, which I have to take as my hand is unguardable, giving Noah game 1 of episode 2. So far, just a little of a rocky start, not much to guard with. Bruce was hiding in damage and the first grade 3 ride over trigger Noah pulled really hurt, but now we can try to pick it up in game 2. In game 2, I start and discard my Madry to ride Steve with Steve's skill and move Matt out of soul and soul charge an early crit and passing it over. Noah draws, discarding a crit and rides Bar and draws an additional card from Undun, and with surprisingly no rearguard, swings with Vanguard. Honestly, I was expecting a rush. I take the hit where Noah drives a heal and I damage Madry. Now I'm regretting discarding my earlier copy. I start discarding Hellblast Full Dive to ride Richard, bouncing Matt to Soul, and draw and call a Gun to rear to Soul Charge 1 and Soul Blast 3 to draw an additional card. After I call Eden and move into battle. Gun starts the attack where Noah damages a front trigger, making my Vanguard and Eden unhittable, and I choose to swing with Van for just a glimmer of hope that I hit a front. And to my surprise, I hit a front trigger, putting my rush back in the game. Noah takes it and damages a Berserk, and then Eden moves in for the final swing, which he guards with his heal from last turn. Noah begins his turn discarding to ride Nahalem, then activating the skill of Bar to find himself another Bar to hand and calls in Oshikumi, Nahalem, Gojo, and Bar to rear guard. Nahalem swings at my Eden, which I let go, and then Oshikumi then swings at my Gun. Right here, guys, is a very interesting play as it limits my options for the following turn, as a good majority of the cards in my deck for Bruce do require other rearguards, and with none on the field, this will limit what I can call out and use for a push, as well as what I get from return when I have to guard from my hand. I start my turn discarding another heal from hand to ride my Bruce, but with my recent rearguards gone and knowing that Overlord can just swing and retire more, I just swing in. Noah guards for 2 and I drive a front and a crit, breaking through and damaging Berserk and an Overlord. Noah begins discarding Oshikumi and riding Overlord, moving Nahalem to the back row. Moving to battle, he swings with Overlord, which I make the risky decision to let it hit. Guys, honestly, I do want to mention I was all in to go to 5 damage this turn. Noah drive checks a crit and a front trigger, damaging me a PG and a Gun. With his Vanguard swinging again, I PG and drop another trigger from hand. With no trigger on the Vanguard, I proceed to take the last 2 attacks. Finally, in Final Rush, I start my turn calling Mabel, Dover, and activating the effects of Full Blast Hell Dive to call my Madry, draw, and give 10k to the front row. I move Dover down and call the front to the field. I attack the Vanguard, which he double intercepts. I then use Dover to put to Soul and give Madry an additional plus 10k, then using Madry to send the front to Soul to draw and Soul Charge, and gain an additional power. Noah takes the hit, damaging a crit, giving 10k to Vanguard. Bruce swings using Mabel to get an additional drive and paying cost of Bruce to stand Madry. Noah guards for 2 to pass, where I drive Dover, Leonard, and finally the over trigger, breaking through once again and dealing the final blow for game 2. With both of us taking offensive over triggers and triggers alone, the match is still very uncertain on which deck has the advantage, but hopefully the final match gives us a verdict we are looking for. But because of a little bit of issues with the dirt footage and a lot of shakiness with the camera, as well as a little bit of video glitching, I decided it would probably be best to just not upload the third video. I will admit though, I did lose the match, so Overlord did beat Bruce in that final moment. I can't really say that there was anything to really talk about in terms of quality of the decks. I wasn't able to pull off any of my protobulb skills, but that's probably for the case that I ran very low amounts of protobulb, and it's probably something that I do want to fix later in the future. Other than that, we did pull our overtriggers pretty much back and forth, so I do think that the matches were fun, but the idea to see if anything's power creeping or if there's a situation with those decks couldn't really be determined from how those events went out. So overall, great match, I do want to say. And I do want to let you guys know that we are going to be changing the way we do these videos. I do know that the last one did take a while. That was because a little bit of work business and family business and everything just correlated, and took me a little bit out of the time frame to work on that video. But thankfully I was able to bring it out. It was a lot quick or rushed because we did kind of cut out a lot of the things where I zoomed in on when the cards being pulled, just so I can easily get this video out, because I did promise you guys this video. But we are going to be changing the way we do it. We're no longer going to be doing like 2 to 3 games. We're going to be cutting it down to 1 game that we think really explains how Way of the Cardfighter is going or how the decks are playing. So we're trying to limit the amount of sacking that you guys see, because you guys kind of want to see how the decks actually play and not how you get your butt kicked. But other than that, thank you so much for coming by, guys. If you want to check more videos like this, please, I do recommend subscribing and liking this video and seeing you on the next one. But if you do want to see more of my content, I am over on Twitch on twitch.tv/SnarlSamurai, and just playing more remote fights, challenging people, having some fun, playing premium D format and V premium. Actually, I don't have a V premium deck. I'm going to pick one up, I promise. But other than that, thank you for coming by, and see you in the next one. Oh, wait a minute. What is the next one?